Welcome to the highest point, or second highest point I should say, of the entire Yom Kippur day. We are at the Musaf service. This is our almost last chance to get forgiveness and a better judgment from God. The Chazan, or Chazanit, the cantor, has a very important role to play here. They represent us. Whoever the leader of the service is represents us, because not everyone knows the prayers, and even if they do know the prayers, they may not be saying them correctly. They're supposed to say it for us, to represent us. That's a pretty scary thought, because God's going to judge us by how they do and say the next few prayers, which is why, both on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, they walk through the synagogue reading a prayer that's really just for them, but we just follow along. Hineni, here I stand, impoverished in merit, trembling in the presence of the one who hears the prayers of Israel, even though I am unfit and unworthy for the task. I come to represent your people and plead on their behalf. Therefore, gracious and merciful Adonai, awe-inspiring God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, I pray that I might successfully seek compassion for myself and those who send me. Charge them not with my sins, and let them not bear the guilt of my transgressions, although I have sinned and transgressed. May they not be shamed for my deeds, and may their deeds cause me no shame. Accept my prayer, as if it were uttered by one worthy of this task, a person of good repute, whose voice is sweet and whose nature is pleasing to all. Quiet what might trouble me. May our faith in you be accepted lovingly, and may your love cover over our sins. Transform our afflictions and those of all Israel to joy and gladness, life and peace, love, integrity, and peace, and may there be no obstacles confronting my prayer. Praised are you who hears prayer. And with that, we're on page 148. And we now come to the prayer, the Chatzi Kaddish, again, the word Kadosh. We are now going to go into our chance to plead at the height of this day. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, and you answer, Be'alma divrach erutei V'yamlich malchutei B'chayechan u'v'yamechan u'v'chayedecha Beit Yisrael Ba'gala u'v'zman karim v'yimeru Amen. All together. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivarach La'alam Olamei Amaya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shmid Kudisha. And together, Barichu. Now I'm on my own again. Le'ela, le'ela, mikol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'ama v'yimeru. We start with our feet together on page 151. We'll take our 3 steps back and forward again with the English line and do the first two paragraphs in Hebrew. Then we'll continue with the English. Adonai, open my lips, and my mouth shall praise you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Gibor V'Nora Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Kanei HaKol V'Zocher Chastei Avot U'Mevi Goel Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo B'Ahava. Second paragraph. Zachreinu lechaim melech hafetz b'chaim v'chadveinu b'sefer hachaim lemancha Elohim chaim melech ozer Mashiach u'magen baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham u'faked Sarah. Page 152, let's read together. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, and God of our ancestors, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel, supreme God who responds with kindness. You remember the good deeds of our ancestors and lovingly bring help to us. On this day we ask you for mercy. Remember us for life, God who delights in life. Blessed are you, Adonai, who protects Abraham and remembers Sarah. You are the source of life who grants us healing and strength. There is none as great and powerful as you. We who are your creation, Adonai, ask to be remembered for life. Blessed are you, source of life. And we're still standing, page 153, with the prayer that was created by somebody who was becoming a martyr. And it was placed before the Kedusha on Musaf for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Unetane tokef Kedusha hatayom. The bottom, page 153. Let us declare the greatness of this day of holiness. It is a day that acknowledges you, God, as our judge. Today we pass before you like sheep. Each is precious to you and none goes unnoticed. Help us to look into our hearts to judge ourselves. Give us the strength and courage to improve in the coming year. Page 154. Berosh Hashanah yikatevun, uvyom Som Kippur yechatemun. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed. We know too that our days on earth are precious. Only you can predict our future, but only we can decide how to live our lives. Through prayer, charitable deeds, and turning to God for forgiveness, we can make our lives better. May you soften our judgment, God, for you are the God of life. You may be seated. I want you to think about just a few things as we go into the Kedusha. We are all in this together, quite literally. To make that point, I'd like you to hear this story about a group of people on a ship that got hit by a terrible storm. Due to a terrible storm, a merchant ship had been blown off course. It would be days before it could safely dock. The cook sadly reported to the captain that their food supplies were almost gone. The captain then announced that he would ask a wealthy merchant on board to help, for he knew that the merchant was carrying crates of dried dates and figs as well as olives from the Holy Land. Surely he would sell them some supplies for a reasonable price. The captain was shocked and disappointed when his request was denied. "Why should I give you some of my fruit," growled the merchant, "when I can get a higher price when we dock?" With a heavy heart, the captain went to tell the cook that the hungry people on board would not be fed. The cook surprised the captain by announcing that he wanted a chance to change the merchant's mind. "Meet me at that miser's cabin in 5 minutes," he declared. When the captain arrived, the cook knocked at the merchant's cabin door. "What is it? Why are you bothering me? I told you I won't share any of my supplies," the merchant grumbled. "Please come with us," said the cook. "There's something we must show you in the ship's hold." Thinking there could be a problem with the goods that he stored there, the merchant agreed to follow them. When they arrived, the cook took a drill from behind a box and began to make a hole in the ship's hold. The merchant began screaming in alarm. "What are you doing? Are you crazy?" "This is no concern of yours," said the cook. "I'm just making a hole under my spot in the boat. I'd rather die now than starve before we reach the destination." "But your hole is going to flood the whole boat, and soon all of us will die," cried the merchant. "I don't care about you," the cook said. "I only care about my own needs." And with that remark, he continued to drill his hole. At last, the merchant understood. "I see what you're trying to teach me. We are all travelers on this boat. What each of us does affects everyone else. Here are my crates. There's plenty of food to share. We can all reach port together, safe and sound." That's the attitude we want to have on Yom Kippur. That's the attitude we want to have as we go through the Amidah and say our requests for forgiveness and admit to doing sins that individually we may never have done, but as a community we all help each other. I ask you to please stand. We're on page 156 for the Kedusha. Aseh leman shemecha v'kadesh shemcha mikdashei shemecha ba'avor kavod shemcha hanaratz hanikdash kasotziach sofei kodesh hamakdishim shemcha ba'kodesh darei malayim darei mata karatu v'yaniviecha v'kar zeh el zeh v'yamar Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot Melech Kol Haaretz Kevodo. Page 157 in the English. We imagine heavenly angels together with us on earth, singing the praises of God. They call to one another, "Holy, holy, holy, the whole world is filled with God's glory." And we, the Jewish people, declare, "Shema Yisrael, Hear, O Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one." In every generation, we will speak of God's greatness and forever declare God's holiness. What I'd like you to do is the bottom of page 157 through page 159, skipping only the part for Shabbat. Read that in Hebrew or in English.